Tito Mboweni's role in South African politics, particularly his tenure as governor of the South African Reserve Bank, has led to various discussions about his career trajectory and the reasons behind his departure from that position in 2009. To address whether Jacob Zuma, who was president of South Africa at the time, fired Mboweni, a detailed analysis of the events, timelines, and facts surrounding the situation is necessary. Tito Mboweni served as the 8th governor of the South African Reserve Bank, a position he held from August 1999 until November 2009. His appointment by then-President Nelson Mandela marked him as the first black African to lead the Reserve Bank, making his tenure highly significant in the post-apartheid economic structure of South Africa. Under Mboweni's leadership, the South African Reserve Bank played a crucial role in maintaining monetary stability, navigating complex global economic environments, and fostering South Africa's macroeconomic policy, particularly in the context of inflation targeting, which became the cornerstone of the South African Reserve Bank's policy under his leadership. By the time Jacob Zuma became president of South Africa in May 2009, following the April elections of that year, Tito Mboweni had already served nearly a decade as the South African Reserve Bank governor. In fact, Mboweni's term as governor was set to expire in August 2009, 10 years after his original appointment. Typically, Reserve Bank governors in South Africa are appointed for 5-year terms, and Mboweni's first term ended in 2004. He was then reappointed by former President Thabo Mbeki for a second 5-year term, set to conclude in 2009. By the time Zuma assumed the presidency, Mboweni had already been leading the bank for a full decade. Contrary to some speculations, there is no evidence or factual confirmation that Tito Mboweni was fired by Jacob Zuma in 2009. Instead, the facts suggest that Mboweni voluntarily chose not to pursue an extension of his term, preferring to step down. Reports indicate that Mboweni had expressed a desire to leave his position before the end of his second term, hinting as early as 2008 that he did not want to stay on. It was widely reported in 2008 and early 2009 that Mboweni had grown tired of the high demands of the job and wished to return to a more private life, away from the pressures of public office. When Mboweni's second term ended in August 2009, there were discussions between him and the Zuma administration about the possibility of extending his tenure for a third term. However, it became clear that Mboweni was not eager to continue in the role. Zuma's government, meanwhile, began looking for a successor. On the 20th of July, 2009, just before Mboweni's term was set to expire, Zuma announced that Gil Marcus would replace Mboweni as the governor of the South African Reserve Bank. Gil Marcus was a seasoned professional with extensive experience in both the public and private sectors, having served as deputy governor of the Reserve Bank from 1999 to 2004 under Mboweni and later becoming the chairperson of Absa Group Limited, one of South Africa's largest banks. The announcement of Marcus's appointment was seen as a seamless transition rather than a contentious firing. Zuma, during the press conference announcing Marcus's appointment, thanked Mboweni for his decade of service and noted his contributions to maintaining South Africa's financial stability, particularly through periods of global financial turbulence, such as the 2008 financial crisis. The transition was handled smoothly, and Marcus assumed office as the new governor on the 9th of November, 2009, a few months after Mboweni's official term ended. Mboweni's departure was thus framed in the context of his desire to step down rather than as a forced resignation or firing. Furthermore, it is important to note that Tito Mboweni maintained good relations with the ANC leadership, including Jacob Zuma, after his tenure at the South African Reserve Bank ended. There were no public indications of tension between Mboweni and Zuma during or after his departure from the Reserve Bank. In fact, in later years, Mboweni was invited back into government service when he was appointed Minister of Finance in 2018 by Cyril Ramaphosa, Zuma's successor, after the resignation of Nalanha Nene. Mboweni's return to such a senior cabinet position reflects the ongoing trust and respect he commanded within the ANC's leadership ranks, including Zuma's faction, even after his term as South African Reserve Bank governor ended. So, in conclusion, Tito Mboweni was never fired by Jacob Zuma in 2009. His departure from the South African Reserve Bank was the result of his own decision not to seek a third term, following a decade in office. While there were discussions about extending his tenure, Mboweni had expressed a desire to leave, and the Zuma administration subsequently appointed Gil Marcus as his successor. Mboweni's exit was peaceful and amicable, and there was no public controversy or evidence of a dismissal. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more updates.